Hey, what's up, Shining Otaku? Today, it's Cloud9
And
and this is Shining Spotlight, the stream where we highlight the creatives in the industry in order to inspire you guys. Today, we have a man with many creative talents. He's provided comic book and film reviews with an amazing critique. He's done shows like Game of Thrones and even Hunter x Hunter on his channel OAW Entertainment, and above all else, he's a comic book writer who has created works such as Totems, with much more expected to come. Today we have the great Larry Williams from OAW Entertainment.
Thanks, thanks guys for having me. He threw great in there. He threw me off. I was like, the great.
yeah,
I get a great in front of mine.
you're an OG.
Oh yeah, definitely. From the community, got to give you your respect. I always got to make sure I do that.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that. How y'all guys doing? How everyone doing watching live?
Oh man,
I'm all spicy.
definitely. I'm happy today. I'm glad you came back on today. We know in season 1 you joined us. I guess you could say this is almost like a revisited type of interview that we're gonna do today.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, because the first one, what was the first one? 2017.
Yeah, that's actually when. So yeah, it was 3
It's
years
been
ago.
that time.
Yeah, so it's been a while. Gotta update the gotta update for the folks. And besides, y'all didn't have the channel in 2017.
No,
Yeah,
we didn't.
true.
This is actually fairly new. We
Yes.
were doing it just off of Facebook at the time. Just testing out something new. Yeah, you were one of our first guests. So I'm glad. That like we got you back on for this. Talk about some new things, new projects that you got going on. Talk about OAW Entertainment, because I'm trying to think. At that time, were you still Otaku Assemble? I think you might have just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were still Otaku Simple at the time.
Yep, because
Actually-
I rebranded last year.
Why did you decide to do that? I'm curious.
Why did I decide to rebrand? Because it was getting difficult to talk to people about a channel called Otaku Assemble and have them take you seriously.
Really, really. What do you mean by that? Like, I mean, you had already amassed a following behind it.
I'm talking about strangers. I'm talking about strangers. So when I'm telling people about the channel and I tell them what the name is, and then they ask me, well, what does that mean? And then I have to sit there and explain it. Yeah. The truth of the matter, dude, the truth of the matter is, as much as I tried to take the word back, otaku still carries with it that negative connotation.
Yeah.
And I was never able to to take it back. I was trying to take the term back and couldn't take it back.
To be able to flip it on its head, so people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask me. Yeah, there is that negative connotation, but I feel like wouldn't you think it would be just like how people used to see nerd, kind of like just like the word nerd in English,
Kind of. Whoa. How they used to though. So see that's the funny thing. Nowadays, geek is chic. Like it's in. Like it's
Right.
cool to be a geek, right? But that term otaku, like you said, it's still treated like the term nerd used to be treated. So yeah.
Yeah.
It was harder to market. It was
Oh,
harder
yeah.
to market.
Oh yeah, we recounted that quite a few times ourselves.
Somebody asked you.
Well, yeah,
about
because I got it in your title. Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly.
like otaku. What is it? Or they'll say, tacos. Like people like get their own spin to it. Tacos. You know who I'm talking about? Who says tacos all the time?
Oh man.
The other thing too though is it's like for years, like on the channel, I always just referred to the channel as OAW.
Mm.
For the longest time. So I'm like the brand is OAW. The brand isn't Otaku Assemble. The brand is OAW. So I'm like, okay, well then we'll just make it, OAW Entertainment. I got OAW Comics. I'm like, all right, this will be the entertainment portion. Whenever I start knocking out my own, films, that's going to be OAW Productions or Studios, whichever one I decide to go with. So, it's still the OAW banner, baby. We still good. We still
It's
good.
easier to remember. It's a lot simpler to say and interpret. So yeah.
Yep.
I can see the thought process behind that one.
I'll tell you the killer though. I'll share an insider secret that I know you guys have probably already ran into. In terms of SEO ranking, yeah, a rebrand wasn't the best idea. Because if you try to search OAW Entertainment in YouTube, you'll find my channel, right? But you'll also find like if you type in OAW, you'll find like Paw Paw Entertainment,
Yep.
which I think is the company that does that. What's that kid show with the dogs, and
The
each dog
Paw.
has a which Paw Patrol?
Yeah.
Yeah, Paw Entertainment is the company that does Paw Patrol. So then you'll get like a bunch of videos of that popping in. It's an SEO nightmare. But that's why I always make sure I put Otaku Assemble in my tag. So anytime anybody search Otaku Assemble, my channel still pops up. And lo and behold, dude, people are still searching for me as Otaku Assemble. So
Like, where's Otaku Assemble? You know, that's
people are still yeah.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. So like, I remember last time we talked to you about we asked you about, is Totems ever going to make its return? And I remember you saying that, you know, that you still had something in the works for it. Is that still true?
I have plans to return to it at some point in time in the future. I don't know when. I can't guarantee when, just because of all the projects I want to do right now. So yeah. But I have I'm going to return to it. It's going to look a lot different than the first issue, though. It's going to look a lot different.
In what way though? Like you gotta give us something to kind of like wet our tongue.
All right. So first and foremost, it's going to be half the length, because Totems originally was supposed to be 12 issues. I'm gonna be doing it in 6, right?
Okay.
Also, the cast will probably be much smaller. So, like, if you guys read the first issue, I think the first issue introduced 1, 2, 3, let's see, 6, 8. Like, I think I had like 12 characters that got introduced in that first issue. Yeah, most of them will probably be back, but there were a bunch of other characters that didn't get introduced until the next issue. Right? Yeah, some of those might not be in the new one. I'm gonna have to trim the cast a little bit, and probably even repurpose some characters too. So like some ideas I had for potential heroes, I might end up using them as villains, just because for what I had envisioned for them in terms of, you know, design, the relationships with other characters, the role they play in the overarching narrative. Some of them actually would serve the narrative better as antagonist characters. So I'm gonna play around with some of that too. But the main thing is that it's because it's going to only be 6 issues as opposed to 12. It's going to be a lot more condensed. So if you recall from the first issue was like a pilot episode, right? It was like like if you read it, it's kind of like a 30-minute. Yeah, it's like a 30-minute pilot, kind of like a one shot. The new one would have to feel more like a 2-hour pilot in terms of content.
Okay.
So, and each issue is going to sort of be like that. So that's going to be the biggest thing. The ball will get rolling a lot sooner in the remake.
Okay. So I'm one thing I guess I'm kind of wondering with that though is like, you're giving us that, but are you planning on ever extending Totems past just doing it as a comic? Do you ever plan on like maybe pitching it as like an animation, you know, having it being animated by anybody, or is this just going to be something that's just, are you just going to kind of repurpose it and kind of just extend its run a little bit longer than what originally it went?
I mean, it's possible. As a joke, right? This is a joke, because I don't know, because the individuals involved in said joke might be watching this right now, because I shared it all over my Facebook. I think right after I published Totems, some of my buddies was talking about doing a Totems pilot, like shooting a pilot for it. And I'm like, dude, we don't have the budget for that. I was like, you know how much CGI you're going to have to pay for? I was like, unless we do it animated. If we do it animated, okay, maybe. But they were live action filmmakers. They weren't necessarily animators. So, but that was a joke once upon a time when I first published it. So, I mean, in terms of like, if I'm open to like adaptation stuff, of course. Would I push for that though? We're just gonna have to wait and see. It would depend on what the level of interest is. The one thing that I did notice in terms of like the reception for that book when I put it out. So first and foremost, my marketing approach was totally wrong, right? Because when I put Totems out in 2012, right, that was a book that was intended for like teenage readers, Okay, here's the thing though. Teenage readers don't have disposable income.
Right.
So I was marketing to the readers. In hindsight, that's not what I should have done. What I should have done was market to the parents of teenage readers.
Yeah, I guess that's a different way of doing it. I never considered it in that sense, you know.
Yeah, I was marketing to the audience. I shouldn't have did that. I actually picked that up. Once again, I'm gonna bring up kids entertainment again, right? Like children's entertainment. Notice they don't market to they market to the kids, but the intention is for those kids to then go to the parents. That's how they do that.
Tell your parents about.
And the commercials are designed that way. If you ever get a chance, dude, take an afternoon, watch just watch like 15 minutes of Nickelodeon or Disney Channel and wait until the commercials come on and look at those commercials and see how those commercials are designed. Those commercials are meant to grab the attention. Like, of course they're going to hold the kid's attention because the kid was watching the program on that network, but they're designed in order to catch the attention of any adult in the room.
I see. That makes sense. Hold on. Can you
I
guys hear
didn't
me
even think of
actually?
it that way.
Oh, no,
Yeah, we
mic
can hear you.
Just made a noise, but you guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay. All right. You know, just making sure there wasn't any off-key technical difficulties. But in any case, no, I agree. You look at I can remember just from back in the day, like Dora the Explorer, any of those shows. I'm pretty sure that's not even on TV anymore. They,
I don't know. They did bring it back.
I mean, it's been there since, or at least last time I saw Dora was like 2 years ago. So
yeah, I thought they brought Dora back.
Around. I think it's still around. You said they brought Dora back?
Oh, yeah. I think they did a reboot, like a new version, a new series, like a couple of years ago.
I see something like that around too. I thought the characters looked a little bit different or touched up, however you want to put it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, didn't they do it? They actually did a movie recently. I thought, like a live action movie.
They did
of Dora.
Yep, that was. I think that was either last year or 2 years ago.
I was like, wow. I mean, I thought it looked like it was like almost like something that you would think somebody would parody off of YouTube or something.
Like a fan film?
Yeah, like that's what I was thinking when I first saw it. I'm like, oh, is this actually like for real? Like they're not playing around? I'm like, yeah, I guess they're not mucking around. But
but yeah, so like that. That's just one of the things I would have to take in consideration whenever I decide to relaunch. So it's like, okay, number one, like what's the marketing strategy for it's going to be, right? Here's the other thing too. And for me, this is kind of like a little bit of the more important thing. Okay. So, because Totems, like I said, it's a story about teenagers and it's meant for teenage readers, right? Okay. The original story for Totems, though, is dated circa 2008. Because there's an important historical event that happened that was originally intended to that we were supposed to see in one of the later issues that pins that story in the fall of 2008.
Okay.
Here's the thing though. A teenager in 2008 compared to a teenager nowadays, totally different thing.
Oh yeah, of course.
Totally different thing. So I'm like, so I have to be able to write these characters in a way that will resonate with that current audience. One of the things when all of our YouTube buddies, right, Insane Game Freak, Uber Hikari, all them cats, when they got a hold of Totems and they reviewed it, I forget which one it was. I think it was Hikari, but they mentioned how it's like what I did with that first issue and the depiction of like high school life. It was general enough to where it could appeal to multiple people, right? Multiple generations, right? Which I appreciated that comment. I'm like, but dude, I don't think that's the same thing as appealing to a teenage demographic now. Because you'll notice one thing. If you go back and look at Totems, notice there's no mention of social media. There's no social media in that book at all.
Well, yeah, I guess if you think about it back then, I mean, Facebook, I mean, it was around, but it wasn't what it is today. You think about even YouTube. I mean, it was around, but I mean, YouTube started in what, 2005? I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're in a much different world than we were back then.
Right. And so for like what I'm just things I'm thinking about in terms of like the reboot. Like I have to take all of that into consideration unless I want to make it a period piece, which that's another thing because right now we're living in the nostalgia age, right? So a period piece might not actually be a bad idea, especially since we are just now starting to get to the beginning of like the 90s nostalgia because we haven't really done that a lot of that yet. We've just started doing that, and I wouldn't mind writing it in the 90s personally. I'm a 90s kid, so
of course
have some Yu Yu Hakusho throwbacks to all the Yu Yu Hakusho fans, you know.
I'd have to mention stuff like email would be brand new. Let's see what else we would have. My man Nate, my main character, he'd have to be a Bulls fan. You know what I'm saying? He'd have to be. He probably would be anyway because I was a Bulls fan.
But in a way, if you do something like that, it actually makes it better. Well, not better, but like I don't even know if I would say easier to write, but you don't have to worry about having to keep up with what's necessarily current exactly because you already know how things were back then, how things were set. So you can actually, I feel like it would be easier to make something like that, when the time is already well since past, almost make it timeless in a way, because as long as the characters themselves have things that people can connect to,
right.
The surroundings, there's the nostalgia piece to be able to market it initially, but once the ball really gets going and people latch onto it and there's a fan base for it, it really won't matter when it's set.
Yeah, it's a time that's passed and that you've experienced.
Right. Yeah. And it's always easier to write stories in the past than it is. I've always found it easier to write stories in the past than stories in the future, because that's sort of like a trope, especially with a lot of like science fiction writers and stuff like that. It's like, you write a story in the future, you can pretty much create the world you want, right? But I'm like, yeah, but you don't have any of your own personal history to go off of, right? So like you take all of those pieces, all of those stories from your own life, and you have to make them fit within that futuristic world. Whereas opposed to, it's like, I mean, if you're writing in the past, it's just a trip down memory lane.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, that is true. That is true. That does make it a lot easier, unless you're like doing some kind of like alternate past, or you're doing like kind of like you're capturing like mythology or something, like kind of like if you think of like Inuyasha, like obviously that's not how the past exactly was, it's like a fictional past, for Japan, right? So you can alter it a little bit, but I guess I agree with you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Not to cut you off too much here, but just want to bring attention to Lion Sage here, who is or is it Leon Sage? I think it's Leon Sage, but he said Paw Patrol, and responded to one of our comments here. Nice. I don't know. Also mentioned that movie came out last year with the Dora movie.
Yeah, I figure that's probably what it is. Shout outs to Leon. I swear that's probably Lion Sage, just going based on the icon. So shout outs to Lion Sage.
Thank you for comedy.
Okay. All right. So I guess we should probably move on to some other questions I have for you.
Shoot.
So how do you feel as though, and I know this is something I've probably asked everybody, but this is something I feel like I have to ask. How has the COVID-19 stuff been affecting you as both a reviewer and a writer in this circumstance?
So, okay. Specifically as a reviewer and a writer. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, as a reviewer, great. The channel's doing gangbusters right now. I've had more time to dedicate to the channel, and it has rewarded me accordingly. So channel's doing really good right now. Really, really good. Really good.
I expect so. You basically able to do whatever you want here and then some. Forced to be on lockdown.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead, Irvin.
Oh, no, man. Well, I want you to finish your other point first. I think you were probably going to say something else, but then I do want to come back to actually your reviews. There's something in particular I want to ask you about, but
Okay. So yeah, so I would say as a reviewer for the channel, like the channel's doing great. Even the Twitch channel, which I'm still trying to build, right? Twitch channel was doing well before my I still haven't figured out whether it's my console, whether it's Twitch, whatever happened, man. When I had to stop my Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 gameplays because the cutscenes weren't recording on the stream anymore, dude, I wanted to throw something. And I haven't figured it out. I haven't figured out what happened because I go back to the old cutscenes of the game, like the parts of the game I already completed. Those cutscenes work just fine. Why is it that the new ones don't work? I don't know. Don't know. But before that happened, everything was cool, right? Everything was cool. But yeah, the channel's doing really well so far. I'm just trying to take advantage of it and up the game again. Right now, the viewership is increasing. Not yet where I want it, but it's progressing, right? March, April, May, my analytics are up, CPMs are up, earnings are definitely up. Yeah, earnings are up. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. You're like, well, that's definitely showing up for me.
Starting to make that 2012 money again. I'm like, oh shit, don't get me started now. No. So the channel's doing good. Requests are up, dude. I'll let you. I'm going to announce this. I'm doing a Memorial Day Q&A right tomorrow night, but I'll just announce it for if any of the faithful are watching this right now. I'm booked for June, y'all. June is booked. I can't take any more video requests for June. Technically, I'm booked halfway through July. I'm probably gonna have to up production so I can shorten up that list so that I can have more availability for July. But dude, I'm like almost booked half the summer already with all the requests that's been coming in, Patreon requests and things like that. Channel's doing really good. Okay, how has COVID affected me as a writer? Not much has changed. It's kind of the same old.
Really? Like you don't feel like it's giving you more time maybe to be like, all right.
Not really. Because the thing was, the quote unquote more time went to other things. It went to the channel. It went to other jobs I was doing during the quarantine, because dude, at one point, what was it? In April, dude, I had 3 jobs. Because I was still working my regular job. I had picked up a second one, and then I started on the channel full time. And then starting next month, I'm gonna be back up to 3 again. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I guess that works, especially when you're saying like I'm starting to make that 2012 money again for the channel. I'm like, yes, that makes sense.
I'm gonna get that bread, bro. I'm gonna get that bread. Believe that.
It was on that grind.
Oh my goodness, the daily. Actually, that being said, and this kind of goes back to, what I wanted to touch on a little bit earlier. I've noticed that your reviewing style has changed a little bit, or a bit since the way you used to do things. And not in the sense of like the way you speak, but like in the sense that, of course, we all know if we go back to like the early, YouTube, like reviewing community days or whatever, a lot of people used to do, of course, like the whole chapter reviews. They used to do the episode reviews if it was a show. Used to do Game of Thrones reviews, of course, at one point, Arrow, you name it, right? But now I notice you do more of the concise, like, I'm going to give you a film. This is the whole package. Here you go. I'm laying it out here. Here's the whole, all my thoughts, my analysis on it, just like a full, clean breakdown. Like, how come you decided to change formats in terms of how you put out your content?
I kind of don't wait out. What do you mean, Irvin? I've kind of always been doing that.
Well, I know, but I'm saying like as far as like, because you used to do a lot of like I feel like more weekly stuff, but now I feel like it's more of a you don't really do the weekly reviews as much anymore. I feel like it's more complete projects, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see what you. Yeah, because I'm not doing episode reviews anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I see what you mean. What you mean. Well, okay. Couple of things that happen. Okay, first off, my viewership, they prefer more completed works. So that's number one. Number two, there aren't many shows that I'm currently watching right now that I would even review for the channel, right? So that's number two. And then number three is just time, man. Okay, so yeah, number three is time. And then number four is that all of the video, I kid you not, it's up to the point now, all of the videos I do now are actually commissioned. So
Yeah.
it depends on what
Patreon.
you were. Yeah, exactly. Through Patreon, and even like I've branched out even to like super chats and stuff like that. Hell, one of my viewers, he just hits me up on Cash App. He like, yo, Larry, bro, I got a request for you. Boom, like I'll get the Cash App notification, and then he'll text me and be like, yo, man, yeah, did you get it? Yeah, this is what I want. So yeah, man, what's cool about it though is, I mean, essentially, I am review on demand now. That's kind of what it is, which is really cool because, so number one, my viewers get exactly what they want because it's what they requested, right? Oddly enough, most of those requests are for things that a lot of my other viewers get into as well, right? And but it's also giving me an opportunity to experience a lot of stuff that I might not have done so otherwise, right? So for an example, well, okay, I'll give you a really, really good example, and then I'll give you a meh example just because I haven't watched the film yet. So for an example, Demon Slayer, right? That was a an anime that was requested to review because of a super chat goal I had during a Q&A live stream, right? And lo and behold, you know, originally I was only supposed to watch and give my general thoughts on the first two episodes. It was a first impressions video. That's what it was, right? But then I was like, let me check out 3. Let me check out 4. Next thing I know, I'm up to episode 13. And then, and now, as of this live stream, I finished it yesterday. I finished the whole series.
Okay.
So my full review of that series will be out on what is today? Today's Sunday? Friday. Yeah. It'll be out on Friday. Can't spoil the thoughts on Demon Slayer in this live stream. Can't do that. You're gonna have to tune into the channel on Friday to find out what I think about Demon Slayer. Okay, so that was one of the good examples, right? Because it's like, oh, like I've heard about that anime, I've never watched it. Okay, this is an opportunity for me to check it out. But then, like next week, dude, I got to review Goldfinger, the old James Bond movie. Yeah. I'm not a James Bond fan. I'm like nothing against James. I don't dislike James Bond. Yeah. It's just that character never appealed to me all that much because I'm not a super secret agent guy. Like secret agents, they don't really intrigue me. You know, they're kind of like zombies. I'm like, okay, that's a cool thing, but you know, yeah, I gotta watch Goldfinger.
It's still cool with me. It's okay.
Yeah, so I gotta watch Goldfinger. We'll see what happens with that, man. It's on the DVR. I'm gonna watch it next weekend to review the following Monday. So, yeah, you know.
Okay.
But so those are the main reasons why. I guess you could say like the content changed.
Okay. That
Irvin, your
audio went out, man.
Can he hear us?
I'm sure he can hear us, but yeah, he's all right. He's having some technical difficulties, people. Yeah, so he's about to try to reset back in.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, I was about to hit him up in the chat, the private chat, see if he could read it.
Yeah, hopefully. But all right. So like, okay, you got your earnings coming in, and as far as actually, I am kind of curious. Like, where is all this going for you?
One sec. I just got distracted in the comments.
Oh yeah, what's up, y'all? Hey,
one of the faithfuls in the building, no longer human.
One of the faithfuls.
That's one of the faithful right there. Salute, sir.
Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you for popping in. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Okay, so yeah, sorry, Nico. So your question was you said where is it all going?
Yeah, I'm actually curious where is it all going? Because well, I'm a bit interested in everybody's end goal or end game.
End goal and end game. Okay, well as far as the channel goes, um I'm just glad to be doing the channel again. Like more
Sorry
regular.
about that.
Oh, you
Welcome
good?
back.
I think I'm good. Am I good? Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Gotta
Yep.
stop stealing that internet, bro.
Man,
I swear I keep going Android on everybody in here. It's been a while since it's happened though, so
Oh
hopefully.
snap! Speaking of which, my battery about to die. Hold up, got me slipping.
man.
Got me slipping. Hold up.
That's one
Hold
of them
up.
type of day.
Hold up. Now
Do
we
what you
good
gotta
now.
do.
We good. We good. I'm good now. But yeah, call me slipping for a minute. I was like, oh snap.
I call that time the Omnitrix timing out. That's what I call that.
All right, I'm gonna need you to stop stealing internet, Larry. I'm gonna need you to go wired.
I'm wired. We good, baby. We good. We good.
Yeah,
So
but
I don't know. Did I miss something?
yeah, I was asking Larry here what's his end game, basically.
Oh.
Ooh, the end game.
End game.
where
Yeah, I
we
know. I
gonna
was
go?
like, I thought that'd be for the end of the interview. All right, end game. So okay, so as far as the YouTube channel goes, right? Like, I'm just glad to be back doing it regularly again, because since the last time you guys saw me on Shining Otaku, that was right before I took a what was it? It was like almost a 2-year hiatus. I actually ended up taking a break from YouTube shortly after that last interview we did. It was like from the spring of 17 until like spring of 19. I took a break from YouTube, just because I had other stuff going on, and so I've been back on YouTube for a little over a year now, and so yeah, I'm just glad to be doing just doing it again. Honestly, I mean, is there who is calling me right now? I'm sorry about that.
What I actually want to say is, just not to interject, because I actually do want to save the end game toward, sort of toward the end. But since we've already kind of already introduced that, what's your end game as a reviewer specifically? Because I know you're more of a, a writer, if anything, So what, as a reviewer, what would you say your end game is?
Honest, dude, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just glad to be back doing it again. Okay. If I had are you asking what do I want to hit 1 million views?
Exactly.
Yeah, is it to be hit 1 million views? Do you want to fulfill some grand purpose after you hit these views? Do you have some life goals to pair with it?
Okay, so real quick, I did I did throw that out there just as a hypothetical. Just for anyone who don't know though, I don't mean to flex, but the channel is at 7.8 million. So we blew past 1 million a long time ago. We blew past 1 million a long time ago, man. We damn near 8 million.
Our apologies.
Okay, you know what? How about this? I'll reveal this one for y'all. Okay, so going backstage again, we got to go backstage with it. So the channel's starting to pick up again, right? But the channel in and of itself still isn't performing the way it used to, right? Like when my channel was younger, and of course, because you guys probably know how that works, right? YouTube algorithm, channel rankings, where you rank in terms of retention, where you rank in terms of watch time, all that type of jazz, right? All of the boring metadata stuff, right? Right now, my goal is to get that channel back to where none of that stuff is an issue. Because right now it's an issue. I've ever since the quarantine, right? Ever since the quarantine started, and I've started the production up again, I'm getting people popping into the live streams and whatnot. They're like, "Oh snap, Larry's back!" I'm like, "Dude, I've been back since last year." It's like, "Oh snap!" Because I found out, dude, it's like when I schedule a live stream, when I do a live stream, when I upload a video stuff, that only gets to a percentage of my subscribers. Like all my subscribers do not get informed to my uploads. You know what I'm saying? They're not getting informed to my activity. And it's just because YouTube is so bloated, you know?
The bell, like they have to hit the bell. So
dude, even that. I actually did shout out to my man Dragnot. I actually did a test with him one time where I was setting up a live stream, or I was setting a video up for Premiere, right? But I did a test beforehand, and he subscribed to my channel. He has the bell icon for notifications. Dude, he did not get notified. Yeah, he did not get notified. So yeah, dude. So like, you know, like I could sit there and I could be like, okay, well, you know, it's just a, you know, technical issue, you know, that's more on YouTube side of things. It's like, but there are things that I can do to help mitigate that. So that's mainly what I'm working on right now. I got hooked up with our mutual friend, Random Black Gamer. Shout out to him. He hooked me up with some software that helps with a lot of that behind the scenes stuff.
So I think I know what you're talking about.
I've been doing a lot of research with that. I've been working with that right there. So yeah, I want to get the channel back to the way in which it was running. Let's say circa 2012.
You want to get back to your prime.
Exactly. Yeah.
I say blow past your prime. You know.
Well, let's get it. Well, it's kind of like have y'all seen the Mike Tyson's workout videos?
Yep. Oh yeah. You know,
okay.
Then,
now y'all notice Tyson dropped a lot of weight, bro.
Yeah, he did.
All right. So to carry on with that analogy, I'm trying to get the channel back up to fighting weight. Once we get back to fighting weight, then we come in for the belt.
Got it.
So, although only thing is with Tyson, it's like, oh, there's no way you'd be able to go for the belt at this age. But you know, I hear what you're saying.
You don't never know.
They don't.
My man Bernard Hopkins was 41 when he won his last title. So, just saying.
If he did, I don't know. I mean, nothing against it, but it would kind of make me think, dang, that's not saying much about people nowadays. If you got people far younger that, you know, at this point, you know, wouldn't be able to beat them. You know what I mean? Like,
if he goes back in as a heavyweight, that's going to be hard as hell. Just because the heavyweight division. I mean, dude, Fury, Wilder, Anthony Joshua, any one of them boys is like, that's going to be a problem for Tyson if he goes back in as a heavyweight. That's gonna be a problem. So, but yeah. So that's pretty much like what my goal. That's what I'm working for the channel. Getting back to that point. Once we get to that point, then we set in sights. We forging ahead.
Okay. Now, I've been meaning to ask you this because I don't think you've ever told me this. But do you have any rivals as a creative, whether it be reviewing wise or even more importantly as a writer?
Nope.
Nobody who's ever like any creatives that you're like, okay, you know, you have like say for example, like, you know, like historically, like Kishimoto had like Ichiro Oda, you know, kind of like to compete against, you know, not like compete against as in like has to be like out for blood, but in a sense that it's like, hey, you have another creative, like whether it be in your community or whatever, that you guys kind of build off of each other. You see this person grow, you know, you grow on top of it. So it doesn't have to necessarily be like a type of like rivalry as in like, I want to see this person fall apart, but you have no creatives that maybe that kind of, I don't know, in your circle that kind of.
Nah.
Really? Oh, okay.
Because no one does what I do.
That's not surprising.
That's the thing. It's like, for an example, right? Like if I take it back to the, okay, once upon a time I used to, way back when, right? But you know what happened with those folks? Let's take it back. Let's go back down memory lane, right? Back when we had the whole like YouTube anime community, right? I didn't consider any of the guys that was making content around that same time, whether it was the guys before me or the guys that, because when I came in, it was in our sector of the community, because I know the YouTube anime, there are multiple YouTube anime communities, but in our specific community, right? At the time I came in, Sawyer Seven Mage was the big dog, right? And
For Neverworld.
no, for Neverworld, he started at the same time I did. He started at the same time. Because we're talking like the summer. Okay. Quick plug. OAW 10-year anniversary next month. So yeah, quick plug.
Well, I didn't even know that.
10 years. Oh.
If you want to ask me, Larry, what are you currently working on YouTube? I'm working on the 10th anniversary celebration, man. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. But yeah, me and For Neverworld, we started roughly around the same time, right? But no, like at the time, like Sawyer was the big dog, and then you had Yokorama and Game Addict, who were like the established ones, right? Mm-hmm. And then I came in, and around the same time too, you had like Super Kami Guru. They came in around that same time, and then everybody else, like you, Maine, Hikari, Cloud Village, all them cats, afterwards, right? Okay, even when that was happening, like, yeah, I mean, if I'm being technical, yes, we were competitors because we were all, competing for views. But honestly and truly, dude, like by 2011, I wasn't even making the same content that they were. So I never considered them rivals because we weren't competing against each other in that regard. Because people who came to my channel came for my content. People who went to their channel for their content. I mean, if I ever had competitors, that's when motherfuckers were biting off of me. So like when everybody decided they wanted to be a fucking Game of Thrones reviewer. Real quick, can I cuss on this show?
Go ahead.
I ain't trying to get y'all demonetized now.
Hold on, before you say it. Are we monetizing this video? I don't think we were. But
no, you're fine. Just try to stay away from some of the sensitive cases.
I got you. Okay, so because I slipped, my fault. But yeah, like when people were biting off of me, that's when it was kind of like a competitive thing. But nah, man. Like I don't really have any YouTube rival. There are YouTubers I aspire to be. Might not ever get there just because I don't put in the level of work that those guys do in their productions. And those are the guys like that I try to like. I see what they're doing and I'm like, oh man, like that's really cool. Okay, let me try my version of that. Like there are those guys. Those are the guys like I kind of want to like emulate in some way. But I don't really have a competitor. Maybe I should get one. Maybe I should. Because iron sharpens iron.
Well, I guess
I should start some stuff with somebody. Be like, look,
start
man.
a feud.
Yeah, I should start a feud.
No, only reason why is like because I guess sometimes like I don't know. I just think about myself as a creative sometimes, like having someone not necessarily like out for blood, but someone where I'm like, okay, like the kind of compete against it kind of can be like a friendly rival, like almost like drive you a bit, and I guess that's why I was kind of curious in the sense for yourself because I didn't know if like was there ever a reviewer out there or even amongst your community like when you start out as a writer, like actually since you did mention that when you did start out as a writer, what happened to the writers around you that you did feel that from, like feel a little bit of a drive from, if that makes any sense, like creatively?
So the writers I got creative drive from were all my friends. Mm-hmm. They were either friends or friends of friends. And in that regard, it was just a matter of just being around those people, like being around creative people.
Are they still working on their craft or?
Oh yeah. But they're back home in Louisiana. I'm out in Texas right now. But that's why I like, every year or two I got to make my pilgrimage back to Lafayette so I can be around those people because I'm like I need that energy again. I need those juices. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they don't have that like in Texas. Like you don't have like a community or like you haven't found like a spot.
I haven't found one yet. I haven't found one regularly. Like I've gone like there are some artists. There are some artists I know out here in San Antonio, and there are some writers that I've interacted with and whatnot, but not enough on a regular basis.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I hear what you mean. Like I know here, like I know Nico and I or Ann and I are a part of like this group called like Detroit Tradecraft, and it has like a lot of how would you say I guess a lot of like OGs in like the comic book industry, you know, comic book creatives. Like some of them have, you know, worked in like Marvel, DC. You know, you have some of them that you know, haven't done that, of course, but maybe have worked in other mediums. So that's why I was thinking like. Usually, I always come across like every community has like their own little pocket. So I mean, I guess I can just encourage you. You know, like in Texas, I'm sure there has to be like something like it there. You know, because I know New York has something like that. Chicago has something like that.
Oh yeah, but so many of those cats are in Austin.
Say what?
I said so many of those cats are in Austin.
Yeah.
In Austin?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I might have to take a road trip to go get with those cats.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Now, but yeah, I haven't really found that group yet.
Now, as far as conventions go, obviously we know this whole year is pretty much done for conventions. I mean, I know a lot of places are reopening, but I mean, let's be real here. You're not going to have everybody who's rushing to go back to a convention right now. You know, seeing is how things are. Do you have any plans next year? You know, for like your new projects. I know you're working on a new project. Is that correct? Like another one outside of Totems.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to unveil it maybe next year, like at, you know, an upcoming convention. If so, like, what spots are you thinking about?
It wouldn't be next year. It would not be before. It wouldn't be before 2022. Because next year would be too soon. Because with my new project, the book I'm currently working on, my idea for that is that in terms of like physical, I would only do one physical, right? One physical release. And if that's the case, then that's the entire book. So I wouldn't even be doing conventions until the entire thing is finished. So that's why I said 2021 would be too soon.
Okay. So you still haven't picked out the artist yet then?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But oddly enough, another weird sort of benefit of the quarantine. The project I'm currently working on. Okay, what's weird about that is production-wise, not much has changed. Resource-wise, a lot has changed. So I'm like, production on that might actually start a lot sooner than I originally anticipated. So, depending on what happens, man, I'm leaving myself flexible right now.
Hey, we hungry for this, man. I've been waiting. I'm just letting you know.
It's been 7 damn years. Who you telling?
You know, I'm like,
Irvin, let me ask you a question, man. You ever been pregnant for 7 years?
No, but I mean, I've seen that on Family Guy. You know, you think about what's the Bonnie episodes.
Dude, I am at the point with this current project. I am so sick of it, right? Like I'm probably never even gonna read it when I'm done with it. I'm gonna put it out and I'm gonna be like, all right, get it out of my face. I don't even want to look at it, right? That's how sick of it I am. But the reason for it is because I see the finish line.
So
I see the finish line.
So let me ask you this then, like, you know, 5 years from now, we're not gonna still be saying, man, Larry, when that project coming out?
Dude, if it takes another 5 years, then it just ain't coming out. That's how I feel. If it takes another 5 years, I'm moving on to something else.
Oh my goodness.
Because I got a couple of stories I've been waiting to do, bro. So I've been itching to do.
At least give us a teaser or something. You know, that's what I'm looking for. At least something to, you know, throw out there and be like, okay, it's coming. You know, update.
Let me address these couple of commenters that came in.
Maniac Madness. That's another one of the faithful, man. What's happening?
Faithful. Thank you for stopping by. He says, being that you guys are writers, how do you all define success? Is it by the reach of your audience, or is it by being able to live a life creating content on your terms, or is it something else? I'm not a writer myself. I'm gonna leave that question more so to Cloud9 and of course Larry here.
So for me, it's the latter. I've always said that if I never made a dime selling comics, I'd be totally fine so long as I could afford to keep doing it. You see what I'm saying? So if I could afford to just keep making work, even if I never see any profit from it, I'd be happy with that because at least I can keep making work. So to me, that's success. To me,
I can agree with that notion too. Like for me, it's more of not only self-sustaining it, but I want to make sure that I put ideas out there and touch people with my ideas that maybe are even similar to myself, or maybe put something in somebody's head that they maybe never thought about before. So I want to provoke thought when I put out stories. You know, of course I want to entertain too, but if I can even put out, you know, a story that makes someone think a little bit differently about an idea than maybe they did before they read the story, then I feel like I've done my job as a writer. And that's to me success.
Okay. Yeah, if I were to add anything to that Maniac Madness, again, I'm not a writer, but just going off your question there, is it by reaching an audience, or is it just being able to live a life creating content on your own terms? I would choose the option that is something else. It's one of those things where, just like how you figured out what you wanted to do was be a writer, your terms for what it means to reach success is also something you'll be finding for yourself. Whether it's, you know, once you finally sell a book, once that selling book becomes basically you know, it's selling a million covers, it's getting a reward, whatever makes you feel like you finally reached that high point, and you could look yourself in the mirror and be like, oh yeah, I'm feeling good today.
Okay.
Then we had Dom Leon's. Thank you for stopping in, buddy. He's he's been one of our fans, subscribers, all that whatnot.
Put the fist up. I'm wearing the perfect shirt for it, to be honest with you.
I know.
Oh my goodness. But let's see here. I know I had another big question for you. So I know Inuyasha is definitely up there as far as one of your favorite anime, manga, one that's warm to you. Obviously it's having its return coming, or kind of having like a pseudo return. I don't know if you've heard about it.
A sequel. It's a sequel series.
How do you feel about that?
Man, this is funny because somebody asked me about this in my last Q&A. So the answer I gave in that Q&A, the same answer I'm gonna give here. So when I got into Inuyasha, I wasn't aware that it was a shoujo series.
Yeah.
And I've always said it's the most shonen shoujo series I've ever seen.
I say the same thing.
Right? Here's the thing though. The sequel feels more like a traditional shoujo. In which case, I'm not exactly the intended audience for that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not gravitating to this. This new one isn't appealing to me. It's not appealing to me. I'll probably check it out just to see what happens, right? But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to commit to it at this point. I'll check it out just out of curiosity, but that's about it.
Now, only thing is with the whole new series, I'm just kind of wondering if it's going to go down the... I hate to say this because I'm sure there's people out here like it, but like the Boruto route, or like the GT route, in a sense where it's going to go, where they're going to almost like kind of mess with stuff in the prior series, So I mean, obviously, I hope they don't like... I mean, they're gonna have to rewrite some stuff, but I hope they're not gonna mess up the ending of Inuyasha, with this. That's the only thing I kind of worry about with it. But in any case, with you being a writer, how do you like? Is there any particular work, if you had a chance to work on, like, let's say, I don't know, like X-Men, or it doesn't have to be necessarily like anything in like American comics, even if it was in, let's say, manga. What project would you work on, like outside of your own?
What project would I work on in comics?
Yes,
or just a writing.
You know what? Both. Let's go with both.
Okay,
let's make it
because DC can't make a Superman film to save their life. I don't understand why. It's not that difficult.
I kind of beg to differ. I think Zack Snyder. I think they did a good job with Man of Steel.
That's the only one you keep bringing up. What about another one? What with another one?
Wait, well, I mean, I think Batman vs Superman was bad, but Larry just keeps shaking his head like. I've lost all the respect points of Larry today, ladies and gentlemen. They're all out the window.
Let him back his case. Let him back his case.
Oh my goodness! Well,
let me tell you something about Man of Steel. A lot of ideas, terrible execution.
That was my thought exactly.
See, I know the one scene everybody always references is when his dad got taken up in the the.
Don't get me started on over the damn dog. Over the damn dog.
I mean, that was bad. I'm not gonna lie, that was bad. But if we just remove that one,
and we
scene,
talking about and what is it? It's like, no, don't come and save me because everybody will then see you'll betray your secret. Superman is fast enough to scoop Jonathan and the damn dog and make it back under the bridge before anyone would have noticed. Or how about this? What if he just went and got him and then didn't go back to the bridge?
Oh my goodness.
Who's gonna sit up there and be like, where did Clark go? Hey Clark, you was under the bridge with us. How come we didn't see you from under that bridge no more? Where you went? It's like, dude, I got the hell out of the way. It was a tornado. That's what I did. What did you do?
I mean, yeah, like I said, there were some issues, don't get me wrong, but
some like Jonathan saying you should have just let that kid die in that bus crash. Or how about Martha saying, be their hero, be their savior, or be none of it? You don't owe this world a thing. I'm like, you're an illegal alien, not just on planet, but also in America. You owe the people you serve a lot. And if you're trying to be this beacon of hope, this iconic symbol for humanity, you can't. Mama, that was bad advice. That was terrible advice.
I don't know. Like if you just take it at face value of what she was saying, about him not owing a thing.
She said it.
Just like I know. I'm saying if you just take it for what she's saying, right? And you look at Superman just like as like a regular person, right? Like let's say you look at it like that, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, he ended up on Earth, but it wasn't something that he made a decision that he made for himself. It's something that his parents made for him. If you put it in that perspective, right? It's not like he said, let me come to Earth and, do whatever the hell I please, right? I mean, I kind of feel like he doesn't really owe anybody, technically. It's like with anybody else, just because you have an ability doesn't mean that you have to use it.
You know what the problem with that is? People forget because it's not, we don't see it enough in Superman stories nowadays. So this is the comic book guy coming into play here, right? Superman chooses to be a superhero. He's the one that came up with that idea. It wasn't this destiny, Jor-El meant for you to do this. Your suit been chilling in the fortress all these fucking years. No, Martha made his suit because he decided to go and be a fucking superhero.
Mm-hmm.
So miss me on that he don't owe nobody anything crap, because clearly he thought he did. Otherwise, he wouldn't have bothered.
Yeah, I guess that's the way to look at it.
I'm gonna be real about this. Because the whole destiny thing has been killing the Superman mythology since Smallville. The last time I saw it where they played it straight was Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, the Dean Cain.
I'm doing it because I want to do it.
The Dean Cain series. Go back and watch that. Yeah, like Clark does it because he wants to do it. That's how it was in the comics. He wasn't prophesized. No.
But then you have to consider this too. Does that work well in film? Because in film you kind of have to have like a clear reason as opposed to, well, not a clear reason, but hear me out. In film, you have to resolve the issue within the same context of the film.
A clear reason for wanting to be a superhero.
Well, no, I'm not saying for a superhero, but what I'm
saying... The world is crummy. I have the ability to change that. 1 + 1 = 2.
Okay.
Hell, dude. Dude. That's like, dude. Have you ever seen Pay It Forward with Haley Joel Osment?
No, I've never seen that.
Oh, dude, you should check it out. It's a really good movie. But like in Pay It Forward, like they ask Haley Joel Osment, it's like, how did you come up with this idea? Like, where did this come from? And he says, because the world sucks, and I have the ability to make it better.
Okay.
He's not Superman. That was just a 9-year-old kid. Or was he 11? He was either 9 or 11.
Oh my goodness.
Might have been 11. But I'm just going to address this last comment here before we start wrapping it up. I mean, we're already at the hour mark. No Longer Human commented again saying, question, have any of you guys experienced creative block, or in my case, writer's block, which I have been stuck in for 2 years now with my project? Why do you guys how do you guys overcome that? Or what do you guys do to overcome that?
Ooh.
Overcoming writer's block. So my answer is going to be very unpopular, but also necessary. Do it regardless. So is your writer's block that you can't come up with anything, or is it that you're stuck on a certain part of a project? You're going to make bad work. Newsflash, you're going to make bad work. Do it anyway. Fail, but fail forward and fail expeditiously. The point is to get the practice. Sometimes the practice is more important than the product. So, that's one way you can like work through writer's block. Just do it regardless. This isn't as constructive. Work on another project. But here's the thing though, if you work on another, I would make this argument. If you're suffering from writer's block, I would suggest you work on another project, but it can't be a writing project. It has to be something totally different than what you're doing. So for an example, like when I have writer's block, I go paint, because that's a totally different activity. It's a totally different activity. I go paint. I'll go and watch something, or I'll go and listen to something, sometimes at the same damn time, because I've done that before. I usually paint whenever I do art. I'm usually listening to music, but you do an activity that is totally different from writing, because if you have writer's block, you need a break. That's what that is. So either blow through it, or put it on hold for a little bit, go do something else, and then come back to it.
Okay.
Well, I actually agree with a lot of that, but I also kind of want to add something else to it. I know one thing I would say, and this is just something I'm mentioning this because this is something I feel like I've experienced myself. Make sure that the reason why you're having writer's block isn't because you're trying to force the characters to do something that's not natural to those characters. What I mean by that is that, sometimes, at least for myself, you have a scene that maybe you want to go a certain way, but it's not the way that it naturally should go, or it's not the way that the characters actually want to act themselves. And you have to let those characters do what they want to do, even if it's them going a direction that you don't really want them to go, if you've already been writing that story. And you have to let the story play out. So if you're having writer's block because you're like, dang, how can I make this work, or how can I make that work? Sometimes you have to just let them play out, and then move from there. So it's kind of piggybacking off of what Larry just said, about as far as, you have to just keep going for practice, but it, make sure that if it is the reason, or the reason why you're holding things up is because the characters are kind of, going in a direction you maybe didn't really want them to go, you just have to let it happen.
You know what the ironic thing about that though is? The ironic thing about that is what we're really talking about is a first draft. So if you have like given Irvin's example, right? Like if you are experiencing writer's block, right, while you're constructing the story, see that right there leads me to believe it's like you're doing your first draft. So like Irvin said, like you have to let that story play out, dude. You can always fix. There's an old film industry quote, right? We'll fix it in post. One, you can always fix it in revision, right? But the important thing is to get the first draft done. For anyone who's ever seen the film Finding Forrester, love that film. Love that film. Great film about a writer, two writers actually. And but Sean Connery's character has a line in that film where he says, "You write the first draft with your heart, then you write the second draft with your brain." So you let that first draft play out however it's supposed to be, because you can always go back and fix it and touch it up in the revision. But get the first draft done first. First things first.
Exactly. I agree.
Oh yeah. And if I were to follow up what these points brought up, it's I wouldn't. Okay. I'm not gonna say I particularly was the best going through something like that. You know, there's plenty of other people, different opinions / advice out there, of course. But much like Larry brought up, I would say continue to work through it, even if it's even if minorly, you just start with baby steps with it. Continue, like if you're an artist, if for anyone checking out, you know, continue to do something, and work your way back to basically getting the motion. As a writer, continue to write up ideas and stuff like that, but continue to work, because the thing is, I would also kind of just to kind of go back on what I just said there, assess try to assess what the potential issue is for why you're at that block. Like Larry brought up, he brought up two cases. One is, it could be your first case. You ran into an issue, or you may have just gotten lazy because you got too much free time, and you're creative versus basically your day job. So you got to take certain structures from the day job and actually continue to do it, and not actually stop. Whereas on the flip side, if you're doing too much, you're overtaxing yourself.
Yeah, you'll burn out.
Then you will burn out. It will affect you, and especially if you're getting little hours of sleep in that regard. And I'm a crazy example of that. Whether it's because I'm a Capricorn or what, it's one of those things where when you tax yourself out, it does start affecting your body, and you really should take more care of your body. But anyhow, that's one of those things where take another note from your day job if it's a job that care, where you're forced to have to take a lunch or a break or something. And you're forced to keep it to an 8-hour shift in a day. If you're coming out from work, doing another 12 hours into your passion project, you've basically spent 20 hours in that day basically working. So I say start there. Are you overdoing it, or are you slacking somewhere, or are you just afraid to tackle that challenge?
I kind of want to add one more thing, to that. Just something very small. I know you're getting ready to.
All right, I'll give you 60 seconds.
Just make sure you're having fun. That's something that my teacher, my mentor, always makes sure that he pushes to me. Make sure you're having fun. So I just want to make sure that I push that out there. If you're writing something, you're not having fun, with that story, then that's an issue. As a writer, you want to make sure that you're having fun with it. I know that probably sounds weird, Larry, but I mean, trust me, it really means a lot. When you got to have fun.
When was the last time I had fun with my story? Shit. 2016? Hey. I haven't had fun with that in a long time.
That's not necessarily something that you don't want it to be that way. I'll just put it that way.
Right. It's because I took too damn long. I know what the problem is. I took too long. I should have, dude. when I set out to be a comic book writer, I always told myself I would never do a long-term project. I would never like like you got manga. It's mostly the mangaka because even American creators, they don't stay on books no 10 years. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I would never do something like that, right? I'm sitting up there doing that right now, and I'm like, no, short form, mini series, limited runs, and then we move on to the next thing.
So you won't begin to hate it.
All right, that was a fabulous question to end it off on. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you all.
Before we go, very quickly, can you tell us your end game as a writer?
My end game as a writer?
Yes.
Well, okay. How about this? So my dream, I'll say dream, as a writer was always to be one of the most influential of my generation. What does that mean? That means when I set out to be a writer way back when, like damn near 20 years ago, right? Back in middle school and shit like that. I always said I wanted to be one of those guys that people bring up when they say, "Oh, well, like, why did you become a writer?" The same way I can name Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Toriyama, Kishimoto, Gaiman, Moore, all them cats, right? I want to be somewhere in there, somewhere on that list. It's like, oh man, what about Larry? What about Larry Williams, man? Yeah, what about that guy? It's I read some of his stuff. He a little long-winded, but I read some of his stuff. I want to be a little long-winded, right? I want to be in the conversation. That's what my end game is. Now, what does that look like? I don't know. But I have kind of experienced that before. Once again, I'm not flexing, especially on y'all platform. But
hey, flex all you need. It's your time.
But when Irvin started up shining Otaku, and he looked at what I did with OAW comics as a model to start from, well, that's what I'm talking about right there. That is always my end game, to inspire someone else to get into the industry. That's what because all of this, we'll sustain the industry and all that. The best way we can sustain it is by getting new, fresh blood into it, because the industry will die when no one cares anymore.
Yeah, I guess that makes perfect sense.
So if we want to talk about longevity, if we want to talk about sustainability, longevity, and then finally legacy, I think the best way you do that is by passing the torch. You inspire the next generation behind you. That's what I want to do, for good or ill. And I've always said, I'm like, I don't want to burn out in mediocrity. Either I want to be a success story or a cautionary tale, whichever one. I'll accept either one.
A cautionary tale. I don't know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing about that, but it's the way you put it. Oh man!
Hey man, go big or go home. We do it for the culture, right?
Cautionary tale, though. You're gonna go down as as one of the greats, man. Just keep edging towards it. We're all gonna edge towards that.
Yeah. So that's what my end game is.
Fair enough. All right. I'm glad we got that last bit, and I actually you got more points on me for that one.
Right on.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for it.
We got announcement. Next stream, we are going to be interviewing Exuberant Cosplay. He's award-winning cosplayer. He's believe he's won an award through Motor City Comic Con before. So those of you who live in the Metro Detroit area, you're familiar with that. He does prop design, the full 9 yards, you name it. If you guys are interested in cosplay or interested in knowing anything in regards to that, you guys are going to definitely want to check out that next stream. Usually our streams are every 2 weeks. This one's actually going to be next week, next Sunday at 9:10 Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you join us for that interview. It's going to be a really exciting one. I'm looking forward to it. Of course, learn more about cosplay, especially prop design, because I don't think we've ever really touched on anything prop design related in any of these streams, actually. And with that being said, Larry, did you have anything that you wanted to announce before?
Announce? No, just a plug. Check out the channel, youtube.com/OAW Entertainment. Social media, facebook.com/OAW Entertainment, twitter.com/OAW ENTMT, twitch.tv/OAW_entertainment, patreon.com/OAW. That's about it. Like I said, I'm doing a Memorial Day Q&A tomorrow, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. So if anyone of you, if y'all available, man, I'm gonna drop the link in the group chat that we got on Facebook. So y'all swing through. It's gonna be a chill Q&A. It's gonna be chill. It ain't gonna be crazy like Friday's Q&A. Because that one was crazy. We ain't gonna get crazy. We just gonna chill. We gonna be mellow.
Definitely make sure you check out all of those pages, for Larry. If you want some amazing reviews, if you want to check out some awesome content, you're always going to want to go to check out his channel. As I said earlier, he does a full 9 yards in terms of reviews. It's not just anime, even film reviews. I know he did a review on something like, for example, Us. So if you like Jordan Peele films, he has like reviews on even stuff like that. So it's very diverse in terms of the content that he covers. So definitely check out his channel.
Oh, dude, because you don't know about June Slate. Ooh, boy. June Slate gonna be something else, bruh. Diverse. Right. Yeah, that's the term.
So before Nico, force chokes me like Vader through this computer, we're going to head on out, guys. I guess Larry's already doing that. We're going to head on out, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the Shining Otaku channel if you haven't subscribed already. Like the Facebook page, follow our content. If you want writing videos, we also have writing videos on our channel as well. We'll have some drawing videos coming up in the future, so if you're interested in that, you can check that out as well. And thank you guys for watching, and join the Shining Otaku, everybody. See you later.
Peace.
Catch you all later.